Well, there is no prizes for guessing what is on the front page of all of the newspapers this morning and right over the internet as well. We're joined by media trainer and crisis management consultant Steve Carey to talk us through some of those front pages. Steve, good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you, Steve.
It was, look, it's really a matter of different newspapers choosing different images, isn't it? Yeah, so what has The Age started with?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? We talk about all this iconography, you know, the whole ceremony and pomp and everything. I think the difficulty is there are millions of images. How do you pick one? So for me, looking through all of the headlines today and the front pages of the papers, The Age stood out for me simply because it was simple. And if you have a look at that, they've cropped the image, they've darkened it. There's just the one single solid image of the coffin.
It's beautiful and it's about the Queen as well.
It's about the Queen.
Yeah.
And I love that single white glove. It's the people who are carrying that coffin and the body therein with such compassion and care. And it just sums up to me that whole solemnity of the whole evening, you know?
Yeah, it had some amazing moments. We already made mention a little earlier of those pallbearers. I think we all watched in some trepidation.
I did too. I thought,
stuff it up.
Yeah, don't fall, don't have a hiccup. How do you do it? And I thought when they were putting it on the gun carriage, I was holding my breath. They brought it into Westminster Abbey. I was holding my breath. They brought it out again. And I thought, how do you practice that? How do you rehearse that? How do you make sure you get every step right? And then you go from that single solid image then, of course, the Australian Financial Review has a different cut, a different version of it.
Yeah, why don't we talk about that? Which way have they gone? They've gone more within the Abbey itself.
Correct. They've gone with the panoply of world leadership. And to me, this sums up, there's the coffin clearly in the centre there, but to me, it's the ties that bind. It's the Commonwealth. It's the whole fact that all these world leaders are coming together. Now, whether you're a royalist, a Republican or whatever, it doesn't really matter, because on this stage and this world stage, this shows the supremacy of that. So to me, it was a very strong image.
That really brings up for me as well, the other thing that I was thinking watching the coverage was just the heart-in-mouth moment for the security services as well as that coffin started making its way and we watched everyone file into Westminster Abbey.
Yeah,
well, I mean, extraordinary, really.
I'm a former London correspondent many years ago, but already there was planning in place for a whole stack of things. This is decades in the making. That security would have been phenomenal, but it wasn't overt. That was what was interesting to me. And then you come to the Australian, which is really interesting, this image to me, because it absolutely goes against the grain. There's the King. So there's King Charles, and if you are lucky enough to get that paper and have a look, the pain on his face, etched on his face, is quite extraordinary. The loss. There's the crown. So it's to me, it's a forward-looking photo, because there's what was, now we're looking at what's to come.
So much we don't know about the reign of King Charles, obviously.
And we can't.
No, we can't. But you do see in his face that, you know...
You see glimpses of it. Yeah. You see glimpses that clearly he's softened and he's trying to do more of what his mother did, which is be more with the people rather than that cold image we used to have of Charles.
And then to the Canberra Times, Steve, how have they gone about?
So we've gone through the whole start. We've started close. Now we finish with that sole final image. They haven't gone with any of the panoply of the funeral. They haven't gone with anything of the cortege. This is the last official photo of the Queen, and it basically, you know, grand farewell. And that's not a bad way to be, but I was talking to the producers earlier, watching it last night. Is there anything sadder than that single piper that really gets you?
Yeah.
You know, and you remember her saying that, you know, it's the grief is the price we pay for love.
It's interesting, most of the recent photos of the Queen have been, or the ones that we've seen have been her smiling, but for my memory growing up, we didn't see a lot of her smiling in my memory, you know. She always looked to be quite serious, I think, but she had really also tried to soften her image in the last couple of decades.
It's interesting though, isn't it, very quickly, that she was a world person for so long, 70 years, but what did we really know about the private person? So this was a way of not just her family grieving, but everybody being allowed to say, OK, we put a pin in that.
Yeah, and of course there'll be criticism, already has been, about the extent of media coverage here and around the world. Simple question, but complex, I suppose, in some ways, Steve. Has the media done it justice? Has it gone too far?
As a former newsman, I think you could easily say it's over the top, because you've got a generation of people that are growing up and don't really understand the significance of it. Then you've got people like my mother who will be furiously keeping all these images and putting them away. You've got to strike that balance. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event. This is absolutely significant. It allows us now to put a pin in it, so to speak, and move on. The reign of King Charles, where do we go? Where do we go with the monarchy? When do we have those discussions about republicanism? So yes, to me, it was absolutely the right way to go.
OK, interesting to get that perspective. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
We love speaking to you on these big days because you bring that newsman's eye, and we love getting you to talk us through what the editors are thinking as well.
No problem.
Cheers.
Thank you for having me.